Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to sir and our fellow friends. So today our group, which is group 5, will present about emergency fund with minimal investment. Next, I will introduce our group members. Firstly, Nur Izzah Faziela binti Abdullah. Second, Asyiqin binti Nasri. Third, Siti Fatimah binti Arifin. Fourth, Amirul Hafiz bin Azman. And lastly, Muhammad Amre Nurhaqim bin Muhammad Amin. When it comes to our personal finance, many of us have changed the way we view our money matters. A recent survey done by Scriptbox, a digital wealth manager, found that creating an emergency fund has emerged as the top financial goal in the current environment. So what is an emergency fund? It is a contingency fund that not only helps financially during most difficult times, but also prevents the derailment of your saving for long-term goals. In simple words, an emergency fund is a fund that you can rely on during times of crisis. Many have been affected by the protracted COVID-19 pandemic, thus changing the current lifestyle of society to a new norm. Some of them lost their source of income when they had to lay off their jobs because their companies were affected or their businesses suffered losses due to a pandemic. However, fortunately, there are savings and emergency funds that have been provided to help individuals and even the whole family continue to survive. This is the time when we can feel how important it is to have an emergency fund and cultivate the habit of investing. Hospital bills, broken cars, home repairs, so many emergencies can happen beyond our expectations. When the situation occurs, are your funds sufficient? Without these funds, you may have to add credit card debt, take out financing, or have to use old age savings. Next, you should not make saving as an emergency fund. Why? This is because our saving is used for future investment and also as a preparation for retirement. The amount of money you should have in your emergency fund depends on your profession, whether you are salaried, professional, self-employed, or into business. For example, salaried people have a fixed cash inflow every month in the form of a monthly salary. For salaried people, personal finance experts recommend an emergency fund with 3 to 6 months of income. However, having more savings like 6 to 12 months salary is better as emergency insurance when needed, like takaful. Use a savings platform that has low risk investment filters and is easy to liquidate. On the other hand, save on a platform that can give a higher return than regular savings in the bank. The annual return on bank deposits is usually less than 1% per annum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul binti Nasri. My matric number is 2020608734, and today I will be explaining about the importance of investing. Okay, why is investing important? Well, for many, investing is required to reach financial goals. Financial goals can include things such as buying house, taking regular vacations, retirement plan, emergency funds, and so many more. When you retire, you stop earning an income, and so you need to make sure that you have some money coming from somewhere to pay your expenses and bills. Luckily, there are a number of tools available to help you retire. Some employers offer a pension plan which pays out when you retire, but not everyone has the full access to these tools. At the end of the day, a large chunk of your retirement will be funded by the money that you have saved up until that point, and you may need to put aside more than you expect. Another reason why is investing important is because to cover life unexpected event. The money will allow you to live for a few months should you happen to lose your jobs and or pay something unexpected that comes up without going into debt. For instance, the COVID-19 pandemic has now lasted for 2 years, which certainly could decrease, if not exhaust, it even the emergency fund when the whole country suddenly went into virtual lockdown. Many people lost their jobs and their income. What did not stop was their living expenses, but the government did step in to help, but that took time and not everyone qualified for it. So it is very important to have some minimal investing for your emergency funds. This is why investing important. It significantly lightens the burden of saving for emergency fund while maintaining your money's value against inflation. Nothing makes saving for your financial objectives easier than starting early. So it is needless to say that learning about investments early is important because it can be very costly to put off, and unfortunately a lot of nations are finding out this too late.
Assalamualaikum and hi. Next, I would like to explain more about the advantages emergency funds with minimal investment. First of all, let's talk about the advantages emergency funds. First, it as a backup. As we know, we can't predict when we will be facing any such of incident. For example, when we involved in an incident, we need to use money immediately to pay all of the costs that includes like repairing, medical, and so on. Secondly, it can reduce stress level. As to relate with the first point, when we already have a backup money or emergency funds, we don't have to worry about where can we get the money immediately. Indirectly, it will help us to avoid bad debts. When we already be prepared for the unpredictable things, we already have the money to survive, so we do not need to worry or to borrow from bank or anywhere. Last but not least, it will help us to encourage saving behavior. When we start with small amount day by day, it can be habit for us to keep saving for the emergency use in the future. Next is advantages with minimal investment. Minimal investment has less risk of us to be lost of our money or to be scammed. For example, we use minimal investment to invest, and suddenly the currency of stock is not that good at the time, so we will not be very sad of our loss money. Minimal investment is also easy to manage or to control. We can set it as our backup protection because, for example, we invest money on takaful plan, then there is an incident happens. By that, we can use our takaful to cover our expenditure. Lastly, we feel unsafe. It is very flexible because we can withdraw whenever we feel unsafe or unstable with the investment because it is just a minimal investment.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hafiz and in this video I will discuss the disadvantage of not having an emergency fund. The first disadvantage is about credit card interest trap. Putting the typical option for people who don't have enough money or enough saving for emergency is to putting an unexpected expenses on credit card and paying it over the time. Credit card debt, on the other hand, is a particularly pricey kind of borrowing, and with the credit card interest that climb up more by then 3% in this recent year will become a burden to the person itself. Thus, the interest will keep on compounding and accumulated and become a burden itself. Next is about transportation maintenance. As we all know, car issue that demands a pricey repair is one of the most typical real-world financial emergencies. If you don't have enough fund to pay such a repair, or lack of fund will put you off basic maintenance, which leads to more major car problem. You may find yourself at one point that you doesn't have any transportation. If you miss work as well because of the transportation maintenance, you will be faced with large mechanic charge as well as lost income. It happened because you did not keep an emergency savings on hand. Next, moving on to house or shelter loss. If a financial situation compels you to miss a rent or mortgage payment, the stakes are even higher. Now, you are in a situation that you might lose your house. This should be considered as one of the most compelling reasons to have an emergency fund. That extra reserve can assist to keep a roof over your head during difficult time. Last but not least, medical expenses. As we all know, these days, medical expenses are really pricey, and neglecting your health can lead to more costly medical therapy down the line, as well as the loss of employment necessary to pursue that treatment. Aside from the financial implication, you might also have to deal with the personal problem and potential of long-term harm to your health. And this is why the emergency fund, this is one of the disadvantages of not having an emergency fund. And I would suggest to everyone who watched the video to start having emergency fund from now. Thank you. That's all from me.
As we all know, investment means postpone the use of money in the present and save it to get richer in the future. It also means the exchange of money for an asset, which in the hope that the asset will generate income as well as gain value in the future. We cannot know what will happen in the future, so it's important to prepare your emergency fund with the minimal investing. Firstly is trying to learn the basic of investing. It is important to have basic knowledge before you do some action. There are many platforms that can be used to gain information, such as social media, YouTube, or try class investment. Second is make decision either to choose long-term or short-term investment. This decision is important because those two will have a different risk. Short-term investment has lowest than long-term investment. Of course, you can choose both, but that will mean additional expenditure. Fourth is choose your platform and list your name in that platform. There are many platforms that can be used to start investing, such as nearest to Asyiqin, or the easy way is to use online platform through your phone or laptop. 5 is gaining information regarding about the company or the place that you choose to start investment, and that it comply with Sharia or good, or it is good or not. Lastly, start investing. You confident about your choice, then start investing with the minimum investing you have and wait for the result. The best way to invest is to save a small amount of our salary to an investment every month. With this, we can save money for emergency and also gain additional profit. There are many good places to start investing. This depends on your decision, either want to do long-term or short-term investment. For an example, for long-term investment is unit trust. Unit trust is a good place for a person that want to create emergency fund that can be used for the future. It has a lower risk and also good instrument for long-term investment. For example, ISB535 tabung haji that save minimum amount of our salary every month as our saving while investment. Second is common stock. Common stock has a higher income than unit trust, but also has a higher risk. So it's important to have high knowledge information about how to invest in common stock to gain profit. Otherwise, it will be in vain. Lastly is takaful. Takaful is also instrument for investment. It may be the best place to create an emergency fund with minimal investment. Takaful need us to give commitment to the takaful with small amount of money every month to cover emergency outcome that may happen in the future. Takaful is also investment instrument that comply with Sharia. For short-term investment, firstly is saving account. Saving accounts such as in the Bank Islam, Hong Leong Bank, CIMB, or etc. It have a very small return with no risk because it use the concept of wadiah yadama'ah. Secondly is fixed income. Example is Sukuk One Malaysia from Malaysia citizen. Lastly is investment account. Place minimum amount of money in instrument that provide return for specific period after taking some amount of risk that have maturity period. Otherwise, no dividend paid. Example is GIA, Maybank, Malaysia that use mudarabah concept. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
The conclusion is, it's important for us to make emergency savings just in minimal investment to face unforeseen situations, and it is sure to have a huge impact on everyone's economy and financial situations. So, you must plan to take an investment decision properly. So, that's all from us. Thank you.